Dr. Hossam Fadel is a retired doctor from MCG. And as Steve Mullins can vouch, he's not a member of any radical organization such as the Democrat Party. And he's agreed to give us some personal insights into what's going on in Egypt right now.
So basically that's what's happening until yesterday. This morning things are getting worse again. Seemed that the Mubarak, after he made his speech last night, and people did not respond positively to him, in other words, they did not get quiet and go back home, he released the security forces again in civilian clothes, attacking demonstrators fiercely. So today, actually, there was many more injuries. I don't know the number of deaths so far, but at least 1,000 people were injured today, some of them critically in Cairo. So things now are becoming really violent after the period of quiet, because people got tired of giving them some promises, very minimal response to their demands, and then continue. And that's where we are now. I'm sorry that this was the end. I was hoping that if I talked last night, I would be a little bit more hopeful that things will get better. But as of now, I think it is not going to get better unless a dramatic or drastic change happens. Thank you for your attention, and I'll be happy to answer any questions or comments. Yes, sir.
Given the fact a new government will emerge, what do you think the attitude of that government will be toward America? And then the second part to that question is, what do you see as the role of Egypt in the Middle East?
Yeah, obviously the first part of the question is the most important one to us here, and I don't think there will be any animosity, formal animosity at all. Obviously, people are still looking at states as a good force that can help in this process. Although there are some problems, as I mentioned, when they see the tear gas made in the USA, and they know that Mubarak could not have continued in his regime for 30 years without the full support of the United States. So they are aware of that. But they know that this is policy, and this is, the United States consider this is national interest, so that's fine. I mean, that's fine. As long as they do not complicate matters any further, they let this guy go, and the new government, they try to establish normal relations with this government. Like theoretically, if, for example, the Muslim Brotherhood are included in this government. Now, if the United States say, okay, as long as there's Muslim Brotherhood in the government, we'll cut the military aid or cut the economic aid, that would be bad. They will respond in kind. But if the United States government continues to support, as it has been, then I think they'll be all right. I mean, it's not like there's a definite animosity or definite policy with that. Even the Muslim Brotherhood have not ever said that we are going to be against the United States. I mean, they never did that. And to my knowledge, even them are in agreement with the peace treaty with Israel and so on. They are not, nobody in Egypt is expecting or want to get into war at this time. Even if things are going bad, but they want to repair all this damage that I talked about before thinking of doing anything externally. They want to reform their government. Now, I don't know the second part of it.
The second part was, how do you see the role of Egypt in the Middle East?
Oh, I think maybe, depending on the outcome exactly, they may be more assertive in their role as a country has own policy. Egypt has been following more or less the U.S. policy 100%, whatever the United States government tells them they will do. Maybe they will have some kind of, trying to find out what is their best interest. Meaning that, for example, I guess we have to talk about the Palestinian situation, and that's really the critical thing in this whole mess. Probably Egypt will try to help the Palestinians more openly, rather than, like for example, the blockade of Gaza, for example. That may be released, but this will be conditional on the peace treaty with, between the Palestinians and the Israelis. And that's the whole idea. If we can get the Israelis agree to free two-state solution that we talk about for the last 20 years, things will be much, much, much better in the Middle East in general. That's the key issue. So that may be changed if this thing is successful. Yes?
If Mubarak was not president, he was exiled, or he died, or assassinated, are there pro-Mubarak factions that would continue to cause problems, or would they automatically get in line with the population?
Everything is possible, you know, I don't know. But if he, I hope he does not get assassinated. I don't think anybody wants to do that. Or if he is exiled or just resign and stay home or whatever, that's all what they want. But I think once that happens, all his supporters, I'm talking about supporters meaning the people who are really benefiting from his regime, like we call cronies or whatever, they will realize that they will not have a place in there. And they will just, if the head has been taken away, I don't think they will have the power to do anything about it. I mean, that's the hope, obviously, but it can be continued revolution, continued civil war. That would be the worst. But there's no such sentiment. Yes.
I've heard that. I've heard that things may not be as they seem. That possibly the Muslim Brotherhood may be worse than what's there already. That they may have people in line that if they get in power, then they would develop a government that would be anti-Israel and would be anti-United States.
I tried to answer that already, more or less, but I can say that's not the intent of the Muslim Brotherhood, and they never had said that. Obviously, they want to have strong government and strong relations, but that's not necessarily, it's not equating that this with anti-Israel or anti-American or anti-USA. The only thing against Israel is the fact, the very bad treatment of Palestinians and the continued occupation of their lands. Once this is resolved, there's no reason to have a problem. I mean, that's as simple as it is. I mean, I don't know why people think otherwise. I mean, that's the fact of the matter. Once this is resolved, there's no problem. And again, if we go even to the what we call the Arab peace plan that was proposed in 2002, all the Arab countries agreed to establish normal relations with Israel once they go back to the 1967 borders, once they allow at least the right of Palestinian refugees to come back to their home or get compensation, and to have equal partnership in the control of Jerusalem. I mean, these are things that have been on the table since 2002 and never been addressed by Israel. And unfortunately, the United States never, again, encouraged Israel to accept these demands. Once this is resolved, if that goes this way, nobody will have a problem with Israel being there as long as there's Palestinians get their rights.
I think that's the problem. There's a disagreement as to the lands that Israel occupy now. There's a disagreement as to whether or not they actually belong to the Palestinians in the first place or not.
Yeah, but I mean, that's obvious.
That's the disagreement.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, people, if you want to get land by force by any means, I mean, that's one thing. But if you follow international law, if you follow the agreements that have been done, all this is based on the 1967 war, and it was resolved by 242 resolution of the Security Council, which the United States was part of it, which talks for withdrawal of Israel from occupied territories. So that's already international law that was agreed on by the United States.